Damming rivers adds mercury to your fish dish. Hydropower is often claimed to be a clean, green, non-emitting, and environmentally benign alternative to fossil fuels. However, several decades of independent research have revealed the devastating impacts hydroelectric reservoirs have on riverine ecosystems and the lives of those who rely on fish as a main staple in their diet. One impact of the creation of a new reservoir that is often overlooked is the accumulation of the toxin methyl mercury in the flesh of fish living in and around these head ponds. How does this happen, and what does it lead to? Mercury is found in most soils in an inorganic form that does little harm. It only becomes a problem when the land is flooded to create a reservoir and the soil, along with any plants, trees, and other organic matter, is submerged. The submerged organic matter decomposes as microbes feed on the biomass for energy and breathe out greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. Over time, this depletes the oxygen in the reservoir, and while these conditions would be lethal to plants and animals, they provide the perfect environment for these microbes to thrive. The same process through which these microbes release greenhouse gases also leads to the conversion of mercury naturally occurring in the soil into the organic form known as methyl mercury. Talk about a double whammy. You may be thinking, well, that seems like a pretty small change. Surely, it can't be that bad. Unfortunately, methyl mercury is one of the most potent environmental neurotoxins found in bodies of water. This compound has 3 special properties that make it very dangerous. The first is that methyl mercury sticks to organic matter like iron to a magnet. Research has shown that while methyl mercury is only produced in the first 10 years after the construction of a reservoir, elevated levels of the toxin remain in the water near the surface for years or even decades after because of how strongly it clings to the soil and sediment particles. The second is methyl mercury's ability to concentrate in the bodies of animals instead of being eliminated with other bodily wastes. This has cascading effects throughout the entire food chain. To understand this, we must start at the bottom with the tiny bugs that live in rivers. When they take up water to breathe and feed, they also take up small amounts of methyl mercury. Small fish that eat the bugs accumulate a higher dose of the toxin as they feast on these little insects. Since methyl mercury cannot be removed at any point in the food chain, it becomes more and more concentrated in the living tissues of animals as we move up the food chain through a process known as bioaccumulation. Recent studies have shown that large fish at the top of the food chain near newly constructed dams and reservoirs contain methyl mercury levels 3 to 9 times higher than the maximum acceptable level in fish for sale in Canada. Furthermore, it can take several decades for the methyl mercury levels to return to normal in the flesh of these fish, assuming there are no further instances of flooding in the reservoir. The third is that methyl mercury is easily absorbed by animals, including humans, which can wreak havoc on their nervous systems. Once in the bloodstream, it's carried to the brain and the spinal cord, where it interferes with the formation and upkeep of nerve cells, as well as the processes that allow these cells to talk to each other. This disruption affects brain function and development, sensory processes, and behavior. People who consume fish or game caught in and around these reservoirs are at risk of mercury poisoning, resulting from prolonged exposure to the toxin, which can affect cognitive ability and be fatal. Indigenous communities are particularly exposed to this disease as they experience higher levels of this neurotoxin due to fish being a significant part of their traditional diets. The labels of clean, green, and non-emitting must be removed from hydropower. ORA is working to protect, conserve, and restore Ontario rivers. Say no to new hydropower. Say yes to healthy rivers. Want to learn more about the fish you're eating? Use this guide made by the Ontario government to help you identify and prepare the types and amounts of fish that are safe to eat. Help support ORA's work by donating today.